not running for office, Bill. I'm answering a question on a television show. If I wasn't answering the same way,
the reason why you're on a television show is because you're a known strategist. So when we're asking for your strategy, and your strategy seems to be to tell the voters you don't know what you're talking about, and I don't think that's a good way to get elected. And I'm not a strategist.
Bill Maher brought political strategist James Carville onto his show, Real Time with Bill Maher. And naturally, he was compelled to correct this commentator, James Carville, right there on air for the ridiculous things he was saying. It is genuinely exhausting listening to people like this who are just so completely, their thinking has been entirely consumed by a one-sided ideological framework. And it really is just sad. Let's get into this clip where Bill Maher is forced to confront and challenge the statements being made. I don't want to be too harsh, but the things being said were genuinely difficult to listen to, right here on this episode of Real Time with Bill Maher.
You famously said it's the economy, stupid, but voters seem to be responding to positive economic news. Voters don't seem to be responding to positive economic news in the polls. How do you explain this?
Well, you know, you got 60% of the Republicans that believe the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Oh, that's not a good answer.
Well, I'm just you say the polls, right? You look at 5.6% growth. All right, by any record, now if people don't feel it, and I think we should have made a change. You and I agree on that, and I don't know how much of it is that they can't see beyond the president. I mean, the cost of living has hurt people, but you just can't look at this economy and go out and say this is a bad economy. That's impossible.
But that's not really what you want to tell the voters.
Well, but I'm not running for office, Bill. I'm answering a question on a television show. If I wasn't answering the same way,
the reason why you're on a television show is because you're a known strategist. So when we're asking for your strategy, and your strategy seems to be to tell the voters you don't know what you're talking about, and I don't think that's a good way to get elected. And I'm not a strategist.
I would not say that, but you can't.
You just said it to me.
But he's not running for office.
I know, but the sweatshirt. Here's what.
It is just such a baffling statement, and it really does feel like a certain way of thinking has completely taken over. I have no doubt that James Carville is an intelligent individual, but for some reason, people who aren't necessarily unintelligent, like he's probably quite sharp, but for some reason, this particular mindset genuinely overtakes these people's thinking. It is one of the strangest things to observe. Bill Maher asked this man a direct question about the economy, and he answers a question about the economy with something that has absolutely nothing to do with the economy. Bill Maher asks about the economy and James Carville responds by bringing up something like Republicans believing the Earth is 6,000 years old or whatever it was he said. What does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with anything. You're just sidestepping the question because you know you'll end up looking foolish if you actually answer it. You can never respond to the question in a way that makes your side look bad, otherwise you get pushed out by the very crowd you belong to. And these people who have built their careers, who have structured their entire public lives around being accepted by this particular group and being supported by that circle, you simply cannot go against that group or you face serious social consequences. You know, metaphorically speaking, you just cannot do that. And James Carville is fully aware of that. And Bill Maher knows that's exactly what Carville is doing, and he's had enough of it. I love seeing it. I absolutely love seeing it.
Like, you can cite the statistics, and yes, inflation is going down, it's going in the right direction, but the things that people buy every day in this country, bullets, eggs, gas.
Gas is down.
Not here.
I'm just telling you, the price of gas.
Yes,
we produce more, we pump more oil than we ever have in history. Anywhere. We pump more oil in Saudi Arabia. All right, just so you know that. But if you ask people, do you think that the Democrats and Biden is, oh yeah, of course he is, 100%. I can't, the fact that people believe something doesn't make it a fact. There's a big story in the Wall Street Journal today. The crime rate has dropped significantly. Try to argue with someone, but the crimes per 100,000, I think, was 738, and you're down to 362 or something like that. You got to sit here and act like I'm a factual klutz. because somebody believes something that's not true, I don't buy that.
Okay. Well, then we'll move on.
Okay.
Mike.
It's just ironic, you know, and obviously Bill Maher is a comedian. He's there to have a good time, keep the show entertaining, and he doesn't want to completely kill the atmosphere, but it's just so ironic that someone who is so far to the left would come out and say things like, I can't have conversations with people. I don't want to engage because the other side just doesn't believe in facts. Mind you, this is coming from the side that, if you remember, before the 2020 election, every major left-wing figure you could think of, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, every prominent left-winger came out and made public statements saying they would never take what they called the Trump jab. Why? Because you should never take this Trump jab. It's going to be harmful. It's going to be dangerous. All of that. Then Joe Biden gets elected. Joe Biden takes office. And suddenly you're the villain if you don't take that exact same vaccine. You're evil. And not only that, trust the science, right? Trust the science. Take the jab. Trust the science. Well, the science originally said it would prevent transmission. And then all of a sudden, when it didn't prevent transmission, the science shifted to, oh well, it doesn't stop transmission, it only reduces the severity when you do contract it. Okay. Well then that turned out not to be entirely accurate either. So then the science shifted once again to, well actually, new variants are emerging so you need to get additional updated doses, right? You need to keep getting these things put into your body that aren't delivering results and that could potentially be causing health issues. We won't say with complete certainty because, you know, you just can't say that, but could be causing health problems and has zero benefit because it's not doing what it was originally supposed to do. And by the way, this is the same vaccine that these very people called dangerous, poisonous, and said no one should ever take it. And now they're telling us we have to take it or we can't board a plane, we can't leave the country. Many people couldn't keep their jobs unless they took it. Unbelievable. And now they have the nerve to come back and say, well, the other side doesn't believe in facts, so I can't engage with them. What are we even talking about? How do you arrive at that conclusion?
Mike Johnson, he's from your home state of Louisiana, the Speaker of the House. I read today he wrote a foreword in a book that subscribes to conspiracy theories and homophobic insults. I thought, Mike Johnson wrote the foreword to the Bible? Do you think Mike Johnson can hold his party together now that he has taken the mantle?
Well, first of all, I don't think he can hold his party together. Second of all, you're exactly right. Mike Johnson and what he believes is one of the greatest threats we have today to the United States.
When I promise you, I know these people.
Well, you're talking about Christian nationalism.
Absolutely.
Talking about
this is a bigger threat than Al-Qaeda to this country. And let me tell you something. They're Speaker of the House. They got probably at least 2 Supreme Court justices, maybe more. Right? Don't kid yourself. And people in the press have no idea who this guy is, how he was formed, what the threat is, and this is a fundamental threat to the United States. It is a fundamental. They don't believe in the Constitution. They'll tell you that. Mike Johnson himself says, what is democracy but 2 wolves and a lamb having lunch? That's what they really, really, really believe. And to say, oh, come on, man, that's just some crazy shit. No. They believe that, and they're coming, and they've been doing it forever. They're funded. They're relentless. And, you know, they probably won't win for a while.
Well, they did win. I'm not sure if he's referring to Christian nationalists or Republicans broadly, but the Republicans did win after all of this. So he was off on that one. But as for the claim that Christian nationalists are a bigger threat than Al-Qaeda, wow. I genuinely don't even have the energy to take that point apart because it is simply the most absurd thing I've heard. Christians are literally known for being overly peaceful. Muslims, or many people within Islam, are very passionate defenders of their faith. If you speak negatively about their religion, they will respond strongly. And I'm not saying that's the right approach. I don't think it is right to physically threaten someone over their religious beliefs, that's just wrong. But that is how many Muslims operate, they are deeply passionate about their faith. Christians are equally passionate about their beliefs, but they would never back that passion with threats of physical confrontation. To suggest that Christians pose a greater threat, and look, I'm not even saying that extreme passivity is necessarily a good thing either. I almost wish Christians were a bit more firm about it, like, you're not going to disrespect my religion and just walk away from it unchallenged. I wish they had a bit more of that energy. But they don't. They really don't. And honestly, that's almost a problem in itself given how passive they tend to be. And to say they're a bigger threat than Al-Qaeda, it's just laughable. It's genuinely laughable. Number 1, it's factually incorrect. Number 2, if Christian nationalists were ever to take a stronger hold in this country, the country would honestly be in a better place. It would be a better environment to live in. Christians operate with a defined set of morals and principles, they have a framework, a standard they hold themselves to, versus the people currently running things who seem to have no moral compass whatsoever, the ones connected to private islands and deeply troubling behavior involving children. So if Christian nationalists genuinely took control, things would improve. If Al-Qaeda took over, that would obviously be a catastrophe. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you all think about Bill Maher and James Carville really going at it in this intense exchange. Bill Maher clearly comes out on top because Carville is he's completely lost touch, man. It's sad to see what this kind of ideological capture does to people's minds, but it is very much a real thing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Bill Maher versus James Carville situation here live on Real Time with Bill Maher.